Photoshop 2025 is out, and it's got its remove tool out of beta that has fine distractions for wires and cables and people. And a lot of people have been making videos on how to use it and how it looks, and yeah, it looks great. But does it? Sometimes it leaves things behind and you're going to have to fix them, and I'll show you how to do it with the 4 examples I've got. I love this tool, but let's be real about it. All right, in this first pic here, we got a picture of a kid playing football, and we have people and wires and cables. So let's check out what this new tool does and what we might have to do about it. First, I'd like to copy the layer, and then we'll do all the removing on a new layer. Call it removals. Let's go over here to the remove tool, find distractions, and let's try wires and cables first. It'll do its thing. And like magic, they're gone. Let's go back to find distractions and people. Now we found this guy over here, which is cool, but there is something over here of a guy that doesn't look like a person. But the cool thing is, of not having remove after each stroke checked off, we can go in there, let's zoom in, and let's just choose it. And hit your enter key. Once again, it'll think about it. And gone. But the weird thing is here of what it leaves behind. First of all, let's zoom in. Let's look at the before and after. Before, after. Check out the kid's face. Before, after. Yeah, kind of ruined it. So we can easily fix that. Throw on a mask, change your brush tool, flow maybe about 10%, and let's paint with black. What we'll do is we'll go up to his face here, and we'll put back what it destroyed. Before, after. Now it doesn't move, but we got a bit of the wire here, so let's move in again. Now, make your brush a little bit smaller, and we'll go back to painting white, and we'll just get rid of that. Before, after. And now the kid's face doesn't move. Now the weird thing is, the guy in the background, let's zoom out, with his orange shirt, once he was removed, which is cool, because he's gone. But it looks like the boy set on fire because of the orange shirt here. So what we can do is use some old school Photoshop to fix this. We'll go to the quick selection tool and just select this area here that we don't want the orange part to be in. Now, if you want, you can select and check it out here. Oh, that looks good to me. Let's make a new layer. Call it clone stamp. We're going to use some old-fashioned clone stamping here. So the S key for clone stamp. We'll make sure the flow, let's make it 20%. But what we're going to do is we're going to grab it from the opposite side of the pic. Hold your Alt key down, grab your sample. Let's invert the selection and start painting. And there we go. The orange is gone. Let's check it out. Control D to deselect. Oh, there's a little piece there. And once again, make your brush smaller. And we'll just clone it out. There we go. Before, after. And the other things that were in there, we got the guy over here. That looks like it's gone pretty good. We'll zoom in. We'll check out over here in the grass. It does kind of look a bit shabby there. So what we can do, let's go back to our clone stamp, and this time we're going to make our flow 10%. Let's grab something from down here. Let's go up in this area, just kind of clean it up. There we go. Now everything over here where that other guy was, and that little piece here, this needs to be fixed too. So let's grab a bit here. Fixed, good enough. Now over here, that looks like it did a pretty good job. Not bad. Let's put these two in a group. Fixes, before, after, before, after. All right, now it's looking like it should. All right, in example number 2, great picture of this couple here. But there are 4 people over here in the background that they would like removed. So copy the layer, make a new one, removals. Now we'll go over here to the remove tool, find distractions, people. Now, if we zoom in, you can see it's made a wide selection of everything. So it's going to be taking a little bit of the pillar with it. So let's see how it does. Zoom out and enter. It'll think about it. It'll do its thing. And voila, gone. Now, let's check it out before, after. It did a great job removing the people and putting back some stuff here. But if we zoom in, before, after, before, after, you can tell that the sidewalk here and the pillar have changed. Now, if you want it to be cool and the way it originally was, let's do this. Put a layer mask on it, brush tool, flow about 10%. Yeah, that's cool. Now, let's go back to the original picture. We'll turn off the fix, and we'll go back to the original layer here. Now, I'm going to grab the selection brush tool. I'm going to dab, hold down my shift key, and go across. What we can do are, we'll rotate the canvas, and what I'm going to do is we'll go back here to the selection tool, and I'm going to paint right here, all along here, and that'll make a selection, even here. Anything you don't want, hold your Alt key down and paint. We don't want the girl's leg in there, but we want the original pillar. R key to rotate, escape, and there's our selection. So now let's put it back, and you can see what actually changed. Let's choose the layer mask, brush key. We're going to paint with black, and we're going to put back how it was originally, which includes the pillar and everything else. Now, if you don't like what it's doing here, Control D to deselect, you can see the people's feet. So what we can do, let's reduce our brush, paint with white, and just carefully remove their feet. Let's zoom out. Before, after, before, after. And it looks like it's done a really good job. Now, if you still want to correct a bit, let's go back up there, and you can see in the after, it's put some stuff in here. We don't want that. We want the original as much as possible. So let's choose the layer mask again. Make your brush a little bit bigger. Paint with black. And just color in there. That's put back what it removed. Before, after, before, after. The more you can see not moving after the removal, the better. Before, after. All right, this one's looking good. Next. In my third example here, I've got one of those ones that you see all the time where there's way too many wires everywhere here. It's a great shot of the city, but you'd want to remove the wires. What we'll do, again, copy the layer, make a new one, removals. We'll go over here, remove tool, find distractions, wires and cables. Let's see what it does. It'll do its thing. It'll think about it and see what it does. And all the wires and cables are gone. You can see some remnants in there. Before, after. Let's zoom in. You can see they're up here. Before, after. Alrighty. But it's done a fantastic job of removing them. So what we can do is we'll use the remove tool to see if we can fix that for ourselves. So let's just grab some here, grab this one, and enter. And bang, gone. That remove tool can fix itself. Love it, love it. But the only issue when you're doing these ones with way too many wires and things is you've got the posts and the poles still there. And that just doesn't cut it. There's a few wires down here, but that's okay. So what we can do are to rotate your canvas. Let's do this big one first. Now let's zoom in, J for our remove tool. You can see a little bit larger than the pole, so I'm going to reduce it just a bit. And I'm going to dab, hold my shift key down, perfect straight line. Dab, shift key, enter. There we go. That's the first one gone. And it didn't destroy too much. That's noticeable. So what we can do now, let's zoom in a bit more. We've got this pole here. So again, let's make our brush just a little bit smaller. Dab. Shift key down to make a straight line. Dab. Shift key. Enter. And gone. Hit the R key. Escape. Now, once you've done this, you can always find remnants of the remove tool, what it does. And that ain't cool. Before, after. So what we can do, hit J. Let's make our brush roughly a little bit larger than the size of the remnant. Dab, 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 dab. Enter. Gone. Zoom out. Now let's look before, after, before, after. Like we've done in the past, you can add a layer mask and put stuff back that's obvious to you in the picture that should be there. But this picture, no, let's leave it alone. It looks great the way it is. On to picture 4. Okay, in pic 4 here, we've got a great old car, but there's a lot of people around that the person wanted removed. So, copy the layer, make a new layer, removals. Go to our remove tool, find distractions, and people. It'll do its thing. And it looks like it found everybody over here. It added a bit of the car, so this should be interesting later on to get the proper removal. Grab these people, but it missed something here. This guy and this guy's torso or something. So let's just keep using the removal tool and let's just paint it in. Once again, if there's something that you don't want, hold on your Alt key and remove it. Let's see what this does. Looks good. Enter. And everybody's gone. We got some weirdness here going on around here. Let's zoom in. It's done a fantastic job of removing everybody, but if we go before, after, this part up here isn't bad for where the guy's torso was, but it's done some weird stuff to the car over here, and over here to this side here. It's also completely changed the car. That's okay. We can fix that. So let's add a layer mask. Now what we can do is turn off the layer. And what I'd like to do is save this part and the rear view mirror because it looks like that part got kind of destroyed. We'll go to our selection brush tool. Now let's turn it off. And what I'm going to do is rotate my canvas so I can do kind of a straight line here. And I go to my selection brush tool. And I'm going to dab, hold my shift key down, this part here. Let's bring back the mirror. So now there's some stuff here I don't want because I went over a little bit here. Hold your Alt key down and let's make this accurate. Reduce my brush, Alt key. I'll click over here to my selections and you can see it made a nice selection of what I want to keep. R to rotate, escape. You can see here this is what we want to keep and what's going on with the pic. So what we can do is make a new layer, clone stamp, and for this outside part here, first we're going to clone stamp this out of here because this is not part of the car. So the first thing we'll do, as for the clone stamp tool, invert the selection, Alt key to select, and let's put some cement in there. Let's invert the selection again, go to the layer mask, paint with black, let's go to our brush tool, and let's put back the other mirror and the rest of the car. Control D to deselect. Now let's see what we've done here, before, after. So we got to get rid of this part right here. Does not look good. All right, to fix this part right here, I'm going to put both these guys in a group. Call it fixes. We turn that off. We can see that there's some rocks and stuff over here, and maybe we should return those rocks instead of what we got now. So the first thing we're going to do after we put them in a group, we'll turn it off and we'll select the layer of the car. We'll go get our object selection tool and just grab the car, and we can see the edges of the car that we want. So let's turn these layers back on. Let's invert the selection. Choose the layer mask and paint in black and just put back just that area. with the rocks and the bushes. Deselect, Control D, and the rocks and bush are back. Now, if you want, you can go to the clone stamp and just kind of S for the clone stamp tool and hold your Alt key down and maybe grab a bit of the bush here. But that's not bad. Zoom out, before, after, before, after. Now, let's check out the other side. We'll zoom in a bit here. And the remove tool did a great job removing the people, but it also distorted what was going on here on the original car. So let's turn off that group, and you can see what we're missing here. Bit of the ocean, bit of the car. So what I'd like to do, choose the car layer again, object selection tool, and let's grab the car. Now, what we can do, though, let's hit our selection brush and see what's missing. What's missing is this part here and the mirror. So let's paint that in. We want that as our selection. Alt key down if you want to remove something. All right, we got to paint it in. Click back here to our selection. B for our brush tool. Now, we turn it back on, and yikes, we're missing stuff, and stuff seems a little bit distorted. Before, after. Let's go to the layer mask first. Paintbrush, black. And I'm going to paint on the inside of this. And let's put back the mirror and the stuff. Now, let's keep that same selection. We'll go to the clone stamp layer. We'll invert the selection. And let's grab some ocean here. As for the clone stamp tool, let's make the flow about 5% this time. And first, let's grab some water. And we're just going to paint that in right there. Grab some from over there. There we go. So now, let's go right about here. Make our brush a little bit smaller. Alt key, make our selection. Kind of come over here. And let's paint this in. Grab another selection. And let's just make this pro here. Finish off the top. We brought back the car and made it look nice. Control D to deselect, zoom out, before, after. And none of that is moving around. So now we have the car. Before, after. Before, after. Great stuff. Wow. It worked great on these 4 options. And it didn't have too much to clean up, but it is something to consider when you want to give a picture back to your client or whatever you're doing for yourself. Adding a layer mask to the remove tool layer should be something maybe that Adobe should throw in there, because you might need it on your pictures. Now, I just did a rough thing with the clone stamping just to show you how to bring back parts that are now missing and stuff. But not to deflect, this is a great tool and I use it all the time. The remove tool rocks. If you're getting anything out of my tutorials, please like and subscribe. That'd be great, guys. I'm Don from Photo 911. See ya.